Hey, Hershey Free, as things are starting to open up in Pennsylvania, I wanted to give you this update on our planning here at the church. At present, we don't have specific dates or a specific timetable for when we are going to be resuming in-person activities. But what we do anticipate is this. We do anticipate that as we move forward, we're going to be taking a phased approach. So let me explain that for you. At some point, we're going to have the opportunity as our region moves into yellow to resume in-person meetings in groups. So that's going to be the first phase. This will allow our smaller groups to meet, and we'll have space for them to do that at the church. It'll also be a great time to meet outdoors. So that's going to be the first phase. At a later date, once again, we don't know when, our next phase will be meeting in person in worship services. At some point, we're going to resume Sunday morning gatherings here at the church, and know that even as we do that, we are also going to continue our online service options. Then finally, at a later date, we will have the opportunity to begin meeting in person in other ministries. This will include our larger ministries like Kids Step. As I said, we don't have a timetable, but this is the way we anticipate taking next steps as we move forward. Now, as we go through the planning process, there's a way in which you can really help us. Attached to this week's e-bulletin is just a brief survey, and if you could take that survey, that will help give us good information that will filter into our planning. As we go through this planning, I also just wanted to share with you some of the values that I think will shape and influence our decisions. First of all, there's the value of health and safety. I think we're all realizing that it's not good for our spiritual and emotional health to be isolated. Nonetheless, as we move forward, as we take next steps, we want to make sure that we are absolutely committed to the health and safety of all those involved in the life of our church. And this means that our decisions are going to be informed by the best medical research and the best available public health guidance. Just as an example, I want to say thanks already to our facilities team because they brought all of our cleaning protocols up to date. So you can be confident that when we do get back in the building, this place has been thoroughly cleaned and sanitized. So one value shaping our thinking is the value of health and safety. A second value is the value of quality. Here's what I mean by that. Over the last weekend, I had several conversations with people in our church who said this. They said, I can't wait till we get back together. I'm really missing being together. And I think we all feel that. But here's what we have to recognize. What we are missing is the way things used to be. And the reality is this, moving forward, at least for the foreseeable future, when we get back together, things are going to be different. It's a new normal, and health protocols will be in place. And that is leading us to ask certain questions about quality. Questions like, well, when can we gather in a way that is meaningful? And how can we gather in a way that is meaningful? So know that there's this value of quality that's influencing our thinking. We want to make sure that when we do gather, it's going to be meaningful for those involved. A third value shaping our decision making is really the value of gospel witness. As followers of Christ, we want to reflect his character in all that we do, and that includes making decisions about moving forward. And I think that means this. We don't want to be people who are fearful, nor do we want to be people who are foolish. We want to be people who are shaped by the character of Jesus Christ. So we want our decisions to be a positive gospel witness to the people around us, our friends, our family, our community, our region. So that's just a quick update on what we think the process is going to look like, as well as the values that are going to shape this process. And having given you that overview, I really just want to share two more challenges with you. As we go through this together, the first challenge is, let's be for one another. Last week, I was on a national Zoom call with 35 pastors from across the country. I was also on a Zoom call with other Free Church pastors in our region. And in both of those conversations, this theme came up. It was a recognition that how people are responding to this pandemic is creating divisiveness and division in certain situations. And I think we realize that people have differing views about how to respond. As we're going through the book of Philippians, it's clear that church could experience division. And I think part of the reason they experienced division was because they were going through external pressures. External pressures can fracture relationships, and that can be true for us as well. So we need to realize there are people in our church who have differing views about how to respond to this pandemic. And no matter what we do as a church, there are going to be some of you who think we're moving too quickly. Others of you are going to think we're moving too slowly. So we've got to be intentional in being for one another. So please keep this in mind as you interact with other people in your groups, in our church community. As you have conversations with people who may have differing views, let's be for one another. Let's work at having good conversations and listening to one another. And let's work at showing grace to one another as well. So let's be for one another. A second challenge is this. Let's be the church. Let's be the church. You know, as this thing goes longer and longer, I think it's easy for us just to settle into a holding pattern and say, well, you know what? The church is closed right now. But that's not true. The building is closed, but we're still the church. The building is closed, but our mission is still ongoing. As we're going to see in the book of Philippians, Paul tells this church, look, this isn't the situation you expected, but it's still a situation in which God is at work. And you and I need to be aware of that as well. We're still a group of people gathered together on a mission. We're still a community of people that are involved in living with Jesus, loving like Jesus, and leading others to do the same. And we have opportunities even now to do just that. Even now, we have opportunities to live with Jesus. I want to encourage you to participate in our Philippians study and use the resources that we are making available. We have opportunities to love like Jesus, to continue investing in our groups and the relationships that we have. And if you're not a part of a group, we're even going to give you an opportunity to be part of an online group. And we have opportunities to lead others to do the same, to spread hope. And we're getting involved in different projects in our community to help you do just that. And you can find out more information at hfcinfo.com. So let's be for one another, and let's be the church. Again, I just wanted to give you this update, and I also want to thank you for participating in that survey. And let me just close with this. I want you to know, first of all, know that we are in this together, and know that God is going to be with us every step of the way. Furthermore, I want you to know that I love you, I'm praying for you, and I look forward to seeing you on Sunday online.